entrepreneurship is a way for us to navigate that space and to create the impact or to create the future that we want to see. So this was always part of the equation. Now the thing was, how can we do that, and what project can we launch in order to have that impact and feel useful in a way? And creating Compostable Alternative was that reason.
G'day mate, and welcome to the Sustainable Travels podcast, where we showcase the ways real people are making real world changes to live, work and travel sustainably.
Thanks for having me in your interview series. So my name is Marion. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Compostable Alternatives, which is a regenerative packaging brand specialized in certified home compostable packaging for cafes. And I'm also the general manager at Responsible Cafe, which is an accreditation for Australian cafes doing great things in the sustainability space. And it's also a rating system for cafes who want to highlight the good things that they do to attract more value-line customers. The story behind Compostable Alternative started back in 2019 when my co-founder and I moved to South Australia as part of a new entrepreneur visa called Supporting Innovation in South Australia. At the time, we were both in Australia looking to establish our career and pursue sustainability initiatives in Australia. And we realized that there was a program encouraging migrant entrepreneurs to stay in Australia and launch a venture. So at the time, what we did is we looked at launching the first plant-based straw in partnership with local organic farmers. And so we searched for farmers in South Australia that were growing cereal rye, and we looked at using the byproduct of their production, so the rye stalks, as a replacement to plastic straws. That was a very, very first product back then in 2019. And we were manufacturing a rye straw from scratch, all by hand, in order to replace the millions and billions of straws that people use every day in Australia. It was also at the time where South Australia was banning single-use plastic straws, cutleries, and stirrers. So it was kind of like the right time to be in that space. And we had a lot of support from the local ecosystem in South Australia, including the Minister of the Environment, including other inspiring projects that were really interested in what we're doing in terms of manufacturing a product in South Australia. And that's kind of how we deep dive into compostable packaging. So manufacturing a product in Australia is very challenging, and we faced a lot of challenges, which is also why we're not manufacturing our rice straws anymore at this stage. But consistency in harvest and obviously consistency in rainfalls for a product that grows naturally by Mother Nature was a very big challenge for us. But what he taught us is that it is possible to replace single-use plastic with products that are naturally made from plants or from agriculture byproducts. And it is possible to have a packaging alternative that can be completely compostable without the need of any facilities or machines. And it is possible to have those products in Australia. So after manufacturing the first batch of rice straw in Australia, we realized that there was two types of compostable packaging that we could look at on the market. There was commercially compostable packaging and there was home compostable packaging. Knowing that the rice straw we were manufacturing was obviously home compostable because it was just a rice stem. So it was just like you can compare it to like a leaf or a branch, basically. And we thought that type of compostable packaging was really interesting because anyone could compost them at home without the need of any infrastructure or facility, no matter where they were in Australia. And that's why we launched a Compostable Alternative. because we wanted to focus on products that could be composted by anyone, anytime and anywhere. And we wanted it to be super easy for people to do the right thing. And in 2021, we launched the website Compostable Alternative, initially with a very, very limited selection of products because there wasn't much product that were certified home compostable at the time. And we've been growing that selection of product to include more and more packaging alternative, including coffee cups and lids, gloves, coffee trays, carry bags, cold cups and cold cup lids, basically products that cafes use on a daily basis for takeaways. And our mission here with what we do with Compostable Alternative is really to empower anyone to start composting at home and grow their own food and be able to process their own products at their own place. So in that way, we want to inspire more Australians to compost and to create value instead of creating waste. But I will take some specific examples so it's easier to explain. But basically, some of our products are pure raw material. For example, our rice straw was just the rice stem of a plant. The grass straw that we sell at the moment are just the grass. So it's exactly the same kind of product, except it's a different plant. It's just the way a grass grows in nature. It's not being processed at all. There is no, we've not created the product. It's just, it's growing like that in nature. And we're using that product as a replacement for plastic straws. Some products are made from biomaterials that are made into resins and then transformed into compostable materials. For example, the produce bags that we have on the website are made in Adelaide. They are made from a resin that's made from a biomaterial that's fully certified home compostable. Some products are just the, I would say, byproduct of another material. For example, I'm thinking about our coffee trays that are made from recycled cardboard. So they've been basically, when cardboard is being recycled, it's transformed into other products of lower value, and that's one of them. So it's basically a product that has been recycled, made from recycled material, and it's fully compostable because it's cardboard. Another example, our coffee cups and lid, for example, they are made from sustainably sourced paper fibers, so that's for the cup. The lid, it's made more from bagasse, so it's a byproduct of the agriculture. And in order for the product to be waterproof, it contains an aqueous barrier coating that is embedded as part of the pulp when the product is manufactured. So in that way, the product is made of only one material and doesn't have any additional lining inside. So it's fully certified and compostable and can also be recycled in the paper stream. You understand the concept basically. Every product is either made from raw material or from bio-based or biomaterials that are either coming from the agriculture byproducts or food waste industry, or as a recycled product made from something that was done before. When we launched the rice straw project, which was called Mr. Rye, Alexis and I were living in our camper van, and that was back in 2019. We kind of discovered the van life back in 2018 when we moved to Australia, and really enjoyed that lifestyle of being very minimalist and just living the present moment and living just very simply. That was for us a trigger into what we are doing today, really, because we traveled a lot around Australia. We saw a lot of wonderful places, and we realized we wanted to be a part of keeping the natural landscape as pretty as they could be, really. The problem is we could see everywhere we were going, we could see plastic waste littered on the floor or on the beach or in the parks. And we thought that launching that project, Mr. Right at the time, but now Compostable Alternative, was a way for us to be part of the solution and was a way for us as individuals to do something about it. Entrepreneurship has always been something that we've been doing with Alexis, and I guess it's good to give that information as well in the background. We didn't become entrepreneur like that. I used to have a business before when I was living in Asia. That was my first business actually, and Alexis has always also undertook entrepreneurial initiatives in the past. So it's not something that was new to us, and that was for us, I would say, entrepreneurship is a way for us to navigate that space and to create the impact or to create the future that we want to see. So this was always part of the equation. Now the thing was, how can we do that, and what project can we launch in order to have that impact and feel useful in a way? And creating Compostable Alternative was that reason. We both felt, traveling around Australia, that we had been impacted personally, and we learned a lot about ourselves. We learned a lot about what's around us, and doing that project meant for us that we could actually achieve some impact, which was the most important for us. So back in 2019, when we launched that project, we were living in a camper van, and we were living pretty simply, but it was also a way for us to get the business started without spending too much money on everything else. So that was a very cost-effective way for us to try that business idea and see if it was going to be something or not. So we did that for a while, and then we decided to settle in Adelaide because obviously, as you grow a business, you need some stability, and you need to create your network, and you need to be settled in a place where it's easy for you to commute to work and to be able to really focus on your project 100%. So that's what we did afterward. But the idea in your head was always to go back on the road one day and be able to do what we're doing from anywhere. So from the start, we set up our business to be completely remote in a way that we didn't want to be stuck in a place. And we didn't want that business to be a barrier for us to go explore or be in a different location or visit our families, because that's also a very important side of the business for us. Is we want the business to create that freedom that we want to achieve, and we don't want it to stop us from visit our families or to miss out on important events. And because we are French, obviously traveling on the other side of the world is usually a long travel. You don't travel for a short time, and obviously you need to be able to afford it. So for us, the business had to include those components of achieving that sense of freedom in what we were doing and in the lifestyle that we wanted to have. So straight from the start, it was really clear for us that our business was going to be run from anywhere as a vision, and we needed to implement some processes straight from the start in order to be able to achieve that. So that's what we did. And when we launched Compostable Alternatives straight from the start, we decided, for example, not to have our own warehousing facility or not to have offices in Adelaide, and keep that mindset of working remotely and working with dedicated people who are really good at what they are doing in the warehousing industry, for example, or in the logistic industry, for example. So we didn't have to be stuck in one location, or the business was not depending on us strictly being in that location. And that was really important for us, which is why we are able now to do what we do from the road, because of all that work that we did in the background way from the start, that allows us now to be able to travel to different locations, meet cafes on the road, and expand our business while we go, and not having to get back to Adelaide every week, for example. So that was really important for us. The bus journey came very, very recently, because we moved into a bus, I would say maybe less than 2 months ago now. But that project has been a very it's been in the pipeline for a very long time, and it took us a very long time to make it happen. Not only because it's a costly project and we needed to have some kind of financial stability to be able to do it and to invest into it, but also because that bus that we purchased initially was just an empty shell. It was an ex-school bus with 22 seats and nothing in there. So that was a project that we had to create from the start. So it took about 1 year for the bus to be fully set up the way we wanted it to be set up. And although we didn't do the biggest part of the conversion ourselves, it was important for us to have a setup that was going to match our needs in terms of living lifestyle, and in terms of work, because that bus is set up to be our home and our office. So everything has been carefully planned following that, and it's now possible. And some people may think, oh, it's great, they're living the dream, but it wasn't a quick project. It took some years to finally happen. And it's not something that came out of the blue. It was something that we were used to do before. It's a life that we've truly enjoyed throughout the year, and that we know. So we knew what we were getting ourselves into. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, because obviously there is lots of challenges living on the road, but we're slowly getting back into it and navigating the challenge and getting better organized at what we're doing and our working days and our working hours, and making sure that there is nothing that stops us from growing the business. But it's a work in progress, and I'm sure if we chat again in 1 year time, I'll have a completely different conversation with you about how we are navigating our remote business. But yeah, what's important for us with that bus project is 3 things. The first thing is that we want to live more aligned with our values. And that was the biggest reason why we wanted to make that bus project happen. And that's what we loved the most about living in a camper van before. So living simply, having days that are completely different from each other, being more in line with nature, needing less, being less in a consumerism society, being more in nature, enjoying outdoor activities, creating less waste as well is a big part of it. Being completely off-grid and self-sustaining. For example, we never plug to the grid. We're always running off solar power. We are creating the energy that we need. We know exactly how much energy we need. Same for water. We know exactly how much water we consume and we need. We're living more consciously. And that was a big part of that project. The second thing is to visit the people that we're working with. And that's very important for us because we've set up our business in a way that anyone in Australia can order our product, which is great. But what's important for us is to go and meet those people, learn more about them, learn about their challenges, see their business operations, see where they are, what's their community like, see how they're managing their waste and what project and initiative they've created around their business. And for us to be able to do that, we wanted to go and meet them. So that's exactly what we're doing. The third objective is to grow our business by visiting as many cafes as we can and talk to them about composting, talk to them about compostable packaging, and give them some education about sustainability in general, but also what packaging they could use based on their waste infrastructure, and helping them understanding some basic concept around waste. And because the packaging world is so complex, giving them the information they need for their specific business. So kind of like sustainability consulting, except we're not really sustainability consultant, but what we do is we match every single information with cafes following where they are in Australia, what waste facilities they have access to. So they have, instead of having a ton of information online, they know exactly what they should do and what's best for their environment. There is a bonus objective as well, if you want. I can give you a bonus objective, is to, because it's not too much a business objective, it's more a personal objective throughout the bus project. By the way, the bus project is called the compost revolution. I think it's important to mention it. But throughout the project, we are also looking to meet inspiring people and projects and initiatives. For example, composting experts, composting facilities, community composting projects, worm farming, black soldier flies farming, and all those different projects that interest us as individuals, that we are passionate about. Alexis and I are both really passionate about different waste management systems, especially around organics. Educate yourself so we can have more information about those systems, and we can increase our expertise into that space. And ultimately, I don't know if it's something that we will be able to achieve, but looking at maybe a national way that cafes could process their own waste, no matter where they are in Australia, and having that full, complete offer for cafes from whatever comes in their business. For example, home compostable packaging, to how they're processing everything and re-evaluating their waste. So, for example, cafes getting home compostable products for takeaways, and then making sure that those products can be composted either on site or locally and transformed into compost, so that compost can be then reused to grow food or herbs or flowers, and either reused in the cafe, so that's a complete circle achieved, or benefiting the local economy and the local community. So giving cafes basically a complete system where they can handle everything themselves, create value out of it, empower their staff, empower their local community to lead the change, and create value and remove all the waste. Yeah, so that's a big vision. I know that's a big vision, but ultimately, the work we do with Compostable Alternative and the work we do with Responsible Cafe is very interlinked. Just because we've got the solution side on Compostable Alternative, and we've got the expertise and the consulting side on Responsible Cafe, where there is more solutions coming in around reuse systems, for example, why it's important and complementary to do both reuse and composting, how to positively impact cafes around reducing what comes in their operation, how to empower their staff to better understand sustainability and take part into the sustainability initiative that they are doing, and just making sure overall that the amount of waste that goes to landfill is tremendously reduced, and everything is carefully considered in terms of what comes in, and so there is as little as possible that comes out in terms of waste. So that's the short story. Then how did I come up with sustainability as a passion? I would say it's fairly recent, in a way that I can't say that I was very sustainability aware living in Vietnam, because obviously Vietnam is everything except sustainability. There's lots of plastic, there is no real awareness about plastic pollution in Vietnam. So I would say that awareness came when I moved to Australia, and when I started that road trip and that van lifestyle that I was seeking to have. Then why compostability, and how did I become so passionate about composting and trying to find value to every single thing that we were before disposing in landfill? I would say traveling was a big part of it, but also digging deeper and deeper and in every single sustainability topic that I could read really kind of fed me in terms of what innovations are out there, how those innovations could work in Australia, why composting is so important, meeting people as well that were very passionate about the topic and taught me a lot about it, reading a lot about it. I would say the trigger was probably when I realized that there was 2 types of compostable packaging on the market, but barely no one was aware of that. It's what I mentioned before about the difference between commercially compostable and home compostable. I was absolutely not aware about that before. Every marketing claims that I was seeing on product being compostable for me meant that there was only one type of compostable, and that it meant that the product was going to break down no matter it was going to end up. So for example, something that said compostable was going to compost in landfill, which is completely wrong. And I'm sure, and I see that every day, actually, many people are still believing that compostable means it's going to break down anywhere, anyhow, which is very incorrect. So as soon as I realized there was 2 types of compostable product on the market, but there was a big misconception around that, that's when I really start digging into those different types of compostable, and where we chose to go in the direction of home composting, because home composting is easily achievable by anyone and can be done by anyone. And that's where I started developing an expertise in that space.
Thanks for listening to the Sustainaroo podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for more details on today's interview. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Explore past interviews for more insights, and we'll catch you next time.